Hi, everyone. I am Hollywood royalty. I'm a descendant of the French aristocracy and British royals, and I've worked on all of the U.S. studios and independent film behind the scenes for well over a decade, over 100 productions. So, in this video, we're going to get into working with kids. Not babies, just kids, young people who want to be actors. And some of the personal experiences I've had, I won't use their names. Some of them are some of the largest stars in LA today. And it's been a real pleasure to see them grow up and have successes. And for me, I'm just small ones, I've kind of adopted behind the scenes and kept an eye on. And the way we ought to treat these young talents. And sometimes they are extraordinarily talented. And it's a real pleasure to see them bloom. So, I've had it where some started in background. I met a small family, and you could tell there was something going on with these people. And the father was having a very hard time. And, it was as if there was something kind of after these people. And I do this sometimes on film sets, or I'll just take an interest because we get all sorts. And you just, want to give it everything you can to make their lives positive. And it's almost as if this father had brought his small one saying, please help out and give them a good future. And so, I sat there almost all day. And had a long talk with the dad and the kids and just got to know them all. And now one of them is a successful actor he told me this was his interest. And I emailed the father a bit here and there after, the production just to make sure everything was good. And, the way things were going with their family. And he got signed on with an agent. And then I saw him when he was older on another film set, and I said, oh my gosh, look at you. Cannot believe it. And so, this is the way I am with people behind the scenes sometimes. I had another young lady who was on a production. It was a musical. She's a very famous young actor who did extraordinarily well. I want to say it was with Disney. But, I get to know the parents quite a bit. And in situations like this, I look for parents who are real parents and not wanting their kids to be a big mega star, who have that kind of feel to it, like either diva or, I won't use that term. I don't like that term. But you know what I mean? That kind of like over the top, like my kid pushing them to the front, making sure they got this. Not like this. I like real parents who, and what I love to hear is, this is something she wanted to do. And I just figured I'd help her out in every way I could. And I had to take time off work to be here today. But she's good at it and she loves it, and I could see this, and so I want to give her everything I can. Love to hear things like that. Love it when the parents, and you can see when they're saying to them, now, come on, don't be like that. And, giving parenting advice to their kid and being a real friend and parent. And so she was in this musical where within the song they were saying her dreams aren't gonna come true, and I was going, she's so nice a kid. How could you put this kid into this musical where they, no, the song was she wants her dreams to come true, but I know the ending of the film and it's that her dreams don't come true. And I was going, that's not right. This isn't right. So I had the mother's email again, and they lived in Los Angeles, and I just messaged her a little bit and just said, is everything good? And she's like, oh yeah. And all of a sudden, it's the way it works with me. I don't reach out to these people. It's just by being anywhere near me that this seems to occur. And hopefully it'll make sense to you more so, but I know I have the magic touch. And she landed a really excellent agent and got an entire TV series. and her dreams came true. So I was very happy with this. And I had another production I was on, a nice, young, independent lady. And I adopted most of the lead kids in that series, and 2 of them are doing quite well. The others, I haven't, I don't even see into it. And then it'll just be all of a sudden I'll go, that's you? You look so different. I had no idea you were in all these movies now. And she definitely, her work took off. I would talk to the parents once more when the kids are on set, and I'm working as an assistant director in that case, getting to know them, going, are you trying to make money off of your kid, or is this something genuine that you want to have for your kid? Are you putting in the work for this? Because it's more about the parents and what they're going to do. And with her, she just took off enormously. With IMDb, she was #1 for a while on the entire thing. She's been on very large projects for a young lady. But this is where we run into problems, and this is probably where young Lilibet and Archie are going to run into issues. Okay. And it's known that, say you have somebody that's like, I am a living Disney princess, empress, queen, so but sometimes, even with Disney, they'll say, if you have somebody who's worked, with Mickey Mouse Club or different things, when they get to a certain age, it will actually be recommended to them by some evil agent to wreck their public image on purpose. So you'll have a Miley Cyrus kind of situation, Britney Spears, where all of a sudden, this very wholesome young lady, with her platform, becomes highly sexualized. Or even, there might be some porn work. Somebody releases something that they filmed illegally because, or they'll take on a role in a film. And this is what I'm worried about with Lilibet. They will, no question, try to target her to put her on a stripper pole role in a film, or something really gritty and sexualized. And they consider this their coming out film into their womanhood, which is not really what this is. It's just, it's a sensationalization of this youth, and trying to make a ton of money on their exploitation into adulthood. And it's disgusting, and I absolutely will not ever back anything to this effect. It's cruel. And but you see it quite a bit in Los Angeles with kid actors. Roles will come at them that other, adults aren't offered, just by the sheer spectacle of seeing a kid you knew who was so portrayed as so wholesome, or the like, all of a sudden be dismantled as a human being. And, a lot of twisted adults who can get off on that. So that is a concern. And if it isn't a concern for Harry, it ought to be a concern. And they will do the same with their son, probably, in light of what's gone on with Harry and his memoir. Target him with drugs, no question. He's going to have to get really tough and be able to just say no all the time, I'm telling you. And he's going to have a tremendous amount of fortitude. Otherwise, you're going to see a spectacle as well with him driving off the road because he was on something, and this is what the British royal family are going to have to start to deal with and face. That's going to happen with their relatives, and hopefully not, but they may unfortunately be following another path that I've seen with some young actors, and I had advised them not to do this, and it seems when I give advice to them, they seem to do the antithesis of it. And I don't know why on earth you would do this to your own kids. I'm from the same background. I know this business extraordinarily well. Why would you not gain from my insight? So, I had this kid once who was on production, very talented young musician, and he was acting in this film. And it really hurt me. It hurt my heart to see the way he was being raised. The parents were extraordinarily controlling. They had him being raised in a very remote property, so other kids were not around. They were homeschooling him, so he was not interacting with other kids. And they controlled all of his social media. So this kid was absolutely isolated. And the problem was that it seemed to be a psychological conditioning and grooming of this youth. He was very wholesome. He was what you would expect within that kind of, he wasn't with Disney, but you would expect with somebody of that age. But it was all very carefully controlled by these two people. And even when we were on set, I deal with the kids arguably probably the most. And, I'm getting them ready for the day, getting their hair, getting their makeup, getting them in wardrobe, their food, their breakfast, making sure that the kids are all good. And that I deal with directly with the instructor and with the parents. And the parents were constantly like this, like just very controlling, and this kid was starved, absolutely starved for affection and love and interaction, and I could see this. So I was interacting with him all I could and just trying to make it a really good experience for him. And normally I would say, don't ever give these parents the ability to give this kid anything, because cut it off now before this gets even more monstrous and cruel. But what they effectively did was make his performances his only outlet in reaching out to humanity. And so when he would perform and sing or do music, that's what's coming out of him, is all of that sorrow, that feeling, that excitement of having somebody hear him finally talk or talk about his feelings. And that's not right. That's sick and cruel and not acceptable. So, straight off the moment, Megan, I'd say her first, because I'm concerned what's going on with these kids. But Harry, I had posted it up and made it very obvious to not go that way with the kids the moment I heard they were headed to Los Angeles. And everything I've heard in videos and the like was saying it's pretty well that, but far worse. And so this is almost the better case scenario of what's going on with these two young ones. It would seem you can have tutors come in, you can have specialized this, and treating them like there's some kind of thing to just put all of your expertise into and control everything they do and keep that hunger for human interaction alive in them, so that they'll reach out with their creativity instead of actually doing it. And in truth, all of the kids I've had and seen to success behind the scenes, 100% the parents were not like that. I would not ever give parents like that the time of day. That is not acceptable. And everyone's saying, we don't ever see the kids. We don't even know what they look like necessarily. Do they even exist? They seem so controlled. They seem so pulled away from humanity. They're being kept from their own family. And now, arguably, there could be different reasons behind that. That could be concerns for their safety and different things. But it is in keeping with my initial concerns that this may be the route that certain individuals may be thinking to take with these small ones. And so just keep an eye for that, because this is something I have seen before in production with young actors. And just to know what the difference is, perhaps, between raising a kid you're hoping is going to be a movie star or the like. But the thing is when they see that you're, when the producers and different people see that you're willing to do that to your kid, and that you are like that, these are the kinds of kids who they'll target to put on a stripper pole, when she's turning of age on screen, or, mess up with drugs, and, because you're beside him on camera, all of a sudden everyone knows who you are, because you're not necessarily the kind of parents who are being protective in the right ways and giving the right messages to other people in LA and people who are really high up. You notice a lot of kids of A-listers don't go into film and their parents say, I didn't even let them see my movies, until I could do one that was like for kids, like we don't discuss it. They don't even know who I am when it comes to acting. They saw me on a poster and they said, that's you. You hear about these stories all the time in interviews where they are aware of this. And these are A-listers who say, I'm not going to be that guy. I am the parent who just wants to be a parent. We spend our time, like, my kids yell at me, they tell me I'm no good. They, like you hear sometimes where they're like a superhero in some action film and they're like, yeah, but your superhero stinks. I like Spider-Man, or I like Iron Man. And they're like, don't you know I'm the Hulk? You know what I mean? Like, you hear all kinds of cute stories like this, but they just want to keep it really, truthful and real with their kids. And they're not looking, they're like, why would I go through all of this and build this entire thing? Just have my kid go through all of these, hard life lessons I had to learn to get to this point. I did all this so that my kids could take it easy or learn to, do whatever they want, or travel the world, or, become a scientist because you have the money to delve into these things. Not necessarily this, and if it does come to this, then I'm here for you 100% when you're older, but so I just figured I'd place it out there. It's quite possible it's not anything like that, but just to give some people some context who might be seeing my videos at this point, for the things to look for and to have concern for young ones that we work with in film. To all the kids I ever worked with previously.